It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We talking Raiders and football dirt. Cause it's a new Raider talk show. We having good times. Let's go. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. What's good, Raider Nation? Here we are. We're back to do it again for another year so far. We're having a good time. We're going to do it live every Monday. Beyond the line, we're going to do it big. We got Murf in the fan cave doing his gig. I'm Mikey Raider, and we on the air. We are the Raider Nation, and we never do scare, because it's Monday with Mikey and Murf. We talking Raiders and football dirt, because it's a new Raider talk show. We having good times. Let's go. It's Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Oh my goodness, Murf, the preseason has started. The Raiders are actually on the field, but they're missing their star player, and I'm a little bit bummed. How you doing with this situation?
I'm doing fantastic, Mikey. It's glad to be back on Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Glad to be back here on Air Nation, which I can't wait to do the show tonight, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I guess we're going to talk plenty about this story, though, that thankfully is already over.
I don't think it's over yet. There's always drama with AB, as has been proven. But other than that, hey, we're back. This is a new season. Basically, this is season 2 of Mondays with Mike and Murf, where we go over some headlines. We have a debate. We also review each and every game. And now we get to review Hard Knocks every week for at least 4 or 5 more weeks. So we're going to have a good time doing that. We hope you guys enjoy it. This is our show, and we love giving it to you. This is my co-host, my partner in crime. His name is Murf. He runs an amazing podcast. He does it big. Let him tell you some information about what he does on his channel.
Thank you very much, Mikey. Appreciate that. Yeah, so we do a flagship show. It's called Raiders Fan Radio. I do that with my Uncle Mosh and our new buddy, our social media director. We call him Swag Jeff. And so, yeah, we do Raiders Fan Radio every week live on YouTube on Wednesday nights. We started off as an audio-only podcast, but thank you to Brother Mikey for encouraging us to take it to a live stream, and we have, and have had an awesome response so far. So thank you to those of you that support our channel. So it's youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave, and we call it Murf's Fan Cave because you get more than just Raiders Fan Radio. You get that show, the flagship show. You get the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead, Tom, Fitz, and sometimes Pop. And those are the guys from the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole. They're an awesome fan booster club from up there in northern New Jersey. And those guys just represent Raider Nation to the fullest. In fact, this week they had KC Raider Nation on as an interview, talking about their big picnic and all their whatever get-togethers. So it's a great show, and it's all about the fans and all about the fan clubs. Then we also do Tales from the Nation, which is where Swag Jeff, our social media director, and I, we get together and we talk about famous moments in Raider history. So that could be, famous named plays, or it could be something like Derek Carr breaking his leg. Sometimes when bad things happen. And then also you get the audio version of this show. You get the audio version of Mondays with Mikey and Murf, and you can find all that stuff on any podcast service. Just search for Murf's Fan Cave. That's MURFS Fan Cave. Search for it, subscribe to it, and we appreciate all your support.
And you can pick up these wonderful Get Made shirts on his channel, with proceeds going at the end of the year to the Fred Biletnikoff Foundation. It's for a good cause, and we will support it. And that's what we do here on Mondays with Mikey and Murf, and Murf Fan Cave, and on Air Nation. All right, I just want to let everybody know we got a little bit of a new feature. We're unable to really look at the chat room all the time during the show, and sometimes we have internet problems and video problems like we are a little bit today, but we're still going to push through every show as best we can. And we wanted to let everybody know, if you support and donate during the show, proceeds will hopefully go to all of us. We give you a funny nickname. So people that donated on the last show, I personally gave them a funny nickname. But you're going to get a funny nickname from Murf and I for next week's show if you donate to our channels during the show in Super Chat or What Be You, and we thank you. But that being said, it's time to get this started. We got a big doozy of a show, and let's get into it. Murf, headlines, breadlines, deadlines. You know what? I just paid my rent this month, and I'm good.
Oh, there you go. And you missed the blow your mind. I missed that part. You do the blow your mind and just don't want to pay rent?
Headlines, deadlines blow my mind. This month, Murph, I was able to pay my rent.
Congratulations.
I'm telling you, with YouTube, it's hard to. I'm telling you. All right, let's do it. Raider Nation, this is what I call the great debate. Whether you agree with me or Murph, I don't care. But if you want to hit a thumbs up for me or a thumbs up for Murph or a thumbs down, or you want to write Mikey or Murph in there, I don't care. But I want to know who wins, because it's always a contest in life. No matter what we say or do, it's always a contest. So let us know who you agree with on each and every segment down below in the forums or with the like buttons. And as Murph keeps telling me, I am apparently a what, Murph? Master?
Debater.
So there it is. Let's get right into it. The first topic is a topic that nobody wants to discuss, and we're kind of over it, but we haven't done a show in about a month. So we're going to talk about it. I don't want to show his feet. That's why I don't really have the picture online. But
Thank goodness. Thank you for not showing his feet. That's a nasty picture.
We'd have to look at the feet picture for like 5 minutes while we do this segment. But I wrote a question mark. And where's my script? I think I had a script. There we go. What's the question? What's going on with this feet situation? Is anybody to blame? Is it really cryogenic frozen feet? What's going on, Murph? I don't know, man. Who's to blame? I don't know.
Well, I think you got to blame Antonio Brown, and I think you have to blame whoever it is that administers the cryotherapy treatment, right? What's surprising to me is that, and I don't know if he's got a thing in his house. I think that's what it is. I think he's actually just got one in his crib there. But what's surprising to me is that
he did it in France. He did it. He flew to France to do it.
All right, then whoever is administering the treatment, you would think that they would have enough awareness to check the guy's footwear to make sure he's wearing the right thing into the cryo chamber. So here's the thing about Antonio Brown is that if you think about it, you know me, I'm Captain Positive, right? I always look for the bright side of the story.
Positive.
Captain
Positive.
Captain Positive. So the thing is that if you look at it like this, Raider Nation, this guy is got such a strong work ethic that even when he jacks up his feet, he's willing to get out there and run around on these screwed up feet and make them absolutely even worse to the point to where he's dealing with what he's dealing with. So, but I'm going to give you the short and curt version of this. And this is probably going to be my answer on every single Antonio Brown topic ever. This is what I've been telling people in my real life, as what I've been saying on our show, and I'm going to say it on this show too. The Raiders have said from day one, he's not going to play in the preseason. So until Antonio Brown is not on the field in week 1, I don't care about any of this. The only thing I care about is that the Raiders are going to miss having a future Hall of Famer on the field if that were to come to fruition. But outside of that, none of this stuff matters.
Yeah, I think it really does. It just shows I don't understand his decision-making. I understand the cryogenic chamber is a mistake, but who made that mistake and why? I mean, apparently he went to France to do it, and this is a company that knows what these athletes should wear on their feet. So did Antonio Brown deny whatever they offered him, or did he bring his own thing? What did he want to do? He said, I'll do it my way, or I like these shoes just like I like the helmet. You know, what happened? Is it a mistake on his fault as well? Again, nobody can answer that, but the company could be liable if they caused the issue. And Antonio Brown wants to get his money, so why not sue them for messing up your damn training camp? If that's the damn case, if it's their fault. But we haven't heard any word that Antonio Brown is seeking, reprimand from them or anything. So that maybe squares the blame on Antonio. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, well, of course it lies with him. I mean, ultimately, these guys are responsible for their bodies. It's their tools. It's their equipment. You know what I mean? They have to take care of their bodies. And look, and that's what Antonio Brown was trying to do. He was trying to recover. That's why you go to these cryogenic treatments and all that stuff. So, he's ultimately, it's his fault about why. I mean, it's just like if you took a supplement or you take you take a supplement, it's got a banned substance in it. Well, they don't go after the supplement manufacturers. No, you shouldn't have taken that. You should have known better than to take it. Well, so it's the same thing. So yeah, ultimately it's going to the responsibility lies with Antonio. But again, I think this thing's about over, man. We're really close to coming to the end of this. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I hope so. I just got a little worried because I actually saw, I keep calling it a pediatrician, but a podiatrist around that time, and he looked at the pictures and he was like, man, he goes, that looks pretty bad. If it is frostbite and all that, he goes, it's a 3-month recovery just for them to officially get the skin off, like all the messed up skin. But it just scares me that it might be a little lingering, and he'll play on it. I know he'll tough it out, but it is still a scary injury when your feet is what makes you money. But it looks like it's coming to a head and coming to a close. So we're going to end it here, but I'm just questioning a lot of Antonio Brown's decision-making, and I didn't think he was going to be doing stuff like this. And that brings us to the next subject, Murph. News was reported maybe about an hour or so ago about the helmet story that we're going to talk about. But Antonio Brown was fighting to keep his helmet against the NFL, and they gave a report on his appeal today. He lost the appeal. They were not going to overturn and let him wear the helmet, because if they did, that would have been Pandora's box for every other player in the league to try to get theirs as well. And he wrote this on Twitter: while I disagree with the arbitrator's decision, I'm working on getting back to full health and looking forward to rejoining my teammates on the field. I'm excited about this season. I appreciate all the concerns about my feet. Always a fight. Represent. It's bigger than me. Your thoughts on this announcement and this report?
Well, clearly this is somebody's PR person putting out this statement. This wasn't AB. And if it wasn't obvious enough by the wording, it's in quotes.
Correct.
Like, what dummy freaking PR guy did that? You know what I mean? But anyways.
Yeah, if you compare his old text where he writes, get dough, hit that, on those, he did not write that. That's damage control there.
Well, it's just, and I mean, just the overall structure of it. It's just an apology, basically. And then the fact that they left it in quotes, like, that just cracks me up. But anyways, so, yes, it's over. And yes, we're going to move past it. And, I think a lot of different things on this. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to say, come on, dude, every other player in the entire NFL got over this, has no problem with this. You're the only one. So get over yourself. Part of me wants to say that, but there's also something else that I think is very true, is that when you're this high level of an athlete and you're this exact of an athlete, and the smallest, most minute details have a big impact and make a big difference. And whether it was, guys like Jerry Rice or Fred Biletnikoff or who, they're very particular about everything from their equipment, top to bottom. And I'll never forget something that Dion says all the time. And I wasn't a fan of Dion as a player, but I like him as an analyst. And he says, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good, right? And I think that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a guy that's at the absolute pinnacle of his athletic performance. And now there's something that wants to get tweaked in that. So while I do think that he should just get over himself, which clearly he has, because he's not going to leave $30 million in guaranteed money on the table. He's not going to put on hold his Hall of Fame career. Does logic dictate that he's not going to play? Did it? I know it's over now, but at the time, did logic dictate that he wasn't going to? No. So until it's a story, again, until he's not on the field in week 1, I wasn't worried about it. Gruden wasn't worried about it. Nobody was worried about it except for who? The people that wanted to get clicks on their articles and wanted you to watch them on TV, whatever. That's the people that we're talking about. Nobody else had a concern with this. He filed his grievance. It got denied. Stick and move, man. It's time to move on from it. And here was the last point that I'll make about it. And I got into an actual, for real, heated argument with my brother about this yesterday. He's a stupid Niner fan, and he likes to take a pot shot at the Raiders every time he possibly can. And that's fine. I understand that. But he was telling me, he was trying to compare it to it's another classic Raiders move. It's another classic Raiders, brought on high-priced talent. It's another classic Raiders dysfunction. And I'm like, This is such a departure from anything that had ever happened in the past, and here's why. If Antonio Brown doesn't show up and the Raiders void his contract, do you know what it actually cost us?
$1 million?
Zero. You know why? Because that $1 million gets refunded. It gets paid back by Antonio Brown should we file that. And you know what? We didn't go into this off season, planning on him being the number one wide receiver anyways. We targeted Tyrell Williams. So at the end of the day, if he didn't show up, he's never taken a snap as a Raider as it is. So he ain't a Raider yet. Look, I want him to be a Raider. I want to see that future Hall of Famer on the field. I want to see his 1,000 yards and his 15 touchdowns and his chemistry with Derek Carr. I want to see all of it. But if for some reason it all went to pot and he didn't show up, well, so what, man? We move on. We got a season to play. We can just leave him in the freaking dust. That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? Like, until there's a reason to get wound up about it, I mean, other than just being on the show talking about it. But other than that, like, in the whole perspective, like, I mean, I can't tell you how many messages and emails and texts and all I've had from tons of people over this thing. And I'm like, stop it. Like, it's not that big of a deal, man. Like, wait till it's a big deal and then we'll freak out.
Yeah, I beg to differ, man. It's a huge deal to me.
Why?
I mean, look,
why?
Look, I'll tell you.
Change?
I'll tell you why it's a big deal to me. Again, whether you guys agree or not, that's fine. But, like, it's just the decision making. And then what was that report that came out that he said he was going to retire? I mean, he said that.
Right. Yeah, I know, but he's not. You think, again, what does logic does logic tell you that he's going to walk away from $30 million guaranteed dollars over this?
Of course
not. No, the answer to that is of course not. But then
he had
like worrying about whether worrying about whether your plane's going to crash.
He had a childish moment, and he's been doing that a lot, and that is a concern.
Why?
Because he's not in camp. Whether he's got hurt feet or not, he could be watching film. He could be on the field in a wheelchair watching the team. He could have been on the sidelines with the team building a chemistry. He's not doing that. He's having childish moments, and it's freaking annoying.
But it doesn't impact anything. If it did, John Gruden would be up his rear end. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. You think John Gruden is going to allow a player like that to come in and primetime him and primetime the organization and not put in the work and not put in the effort and just get away with it? You think, I don't care if you're Antonio Brown or not. There's no way that anybody gets away with that on a John Gruden-led team.
I think John Gruden is different this year. He's different this year. He came out and spoke glowingly of Antonio Brown. He wouldn't do that for any other player besides the $30 million man that we got on this team. And now
because he's not worried about it.
But he's been talking good about Derek Carr as well. He is a different John Gruden this year.
Because he's not worried about it.
Last year he called out Derek Carr. He called out multiple players, and then all the hatred that came from it, he's trying to avoid it. So he's not doing it. He's acting more professional this year. And then the statement about Antonio Brown after the game, it was very nice though to see Gruden talk about Antonio after the game, where he said, it was a personal mistake, and we want him on this team, and the helmet is a personal choice. I like what Gruden's doing, but I think Gruden is letting a lot of things slide right now. I'm just being honest. I think
it's week 1 of the preseason. Let this team go 2-4, and then we'll see how nice John Gruden's being. Okay? He's not changed his tune. He's not changed as a coach. He's not going to change from now or the next 9 years that we know guaranteed he's going to be the Raiders head coach.
He has publicly. He doesn't want to make all those mistakes. Yeah.
Absolutely not. It was because everybody was getting, and I'm going to include you on this, man. Everybody was getting all wound up about Gruden last year, and he was this, and he was that, ranting and raving and hooting and hollering about Gruden. He has not changed. The man has not changed. He's been the same coach since day one. He's always has been. It's we. That's the fan. It's you, the proverbial you, that change. That's what changes. The freaking coach does not change. He hasn't changed his tune. Dude, no one's going to primetime John Gruden. It's not going to happen. And so there's my last point. And this is what I brought up to my brother. What is it actually impacted? And he said, well, it's going to be this and it's going to be. I said, catch yourself. It's going to be. You're speculating. Take speculation out of the equation. Tell me the tangible change it's made in the Raiders. You tell me right now, give me a hard fact of what dysfunction, distraction, negative impact Antonio Brown has had on the Oakland Raiders. If you could tell me one, I'll agree with you. That's not speculation. You tell me one thing.
I think certain players and maybe some of the staff have issues with a few things that are going on.
Where did you hear them say that? Where did you hear them say that?
Well, I mean, I read the article by Michael Silver,
there you go.
But I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
I don't trust him either. Because why? Because he speculates. I'm talking about facts.
I know. I don't have any. Exactly. I just think some of them
does. Nobody does. None of these media idiots do. Silver doesn't. Florio doesn't. Colin Cowherd doesn't. Dan Patrick doesn't. None of them have facts. You know who's got facts? John Gruden, Antonio Brown, Mike Mayock. So until those guys tell me something different, I'm going to trust them.
Yeah, no, I just think personally some people have problems with it, but they're not speaking about it. But that being said, this is damage control. No matter what you think about it, Gruden and the team are doing damage control. As you just stated with what Antonio Brown wrote, that was from a PR person. So, I'm glad it looks like it's ending, and I'm glad Gruden put, publicly his trust in Antonio Brown, because one day later after John Gruden said that, we kind of have an end, and it looks like Antonio Brown is coming back to the table. So I think what Gruden said went a long way publicly for Antonio Brown's psyche and made him feel wanted and respected again. And I'm proud to see that, and I can't wait to get him on the field. All right, let's move on from the dark helmet saga that I remember. Dark. What was that movie with the dark helmet?
Spaceballs.
Yeah. People were putting memes of Antonio Brown like in that Spaceball helmet, and like, nah, I don't want it.
Set thrusters to ludicrous speed. Ludicrous speed.
I haven't watched that movie in years. I got to do it again.
We've gone plaid, sir.
May the Schwartz be with ya. All right, Hard Knocks training camp with the Oakland Raiders debuted last week, and it was a doozy for me. It was a long time coming. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The reviews are in. People said it was boring. But for me, an NFL documentary fan, a Raider fan, I thought it was fantastic. I do believe the Raiders cut out some things that they didn't want to show. But what's your overall impression of Hard Knocks, and what did you do for the event?
I'm going to try not to go full crazy hater here, man, because
you're on fire today, boy.
I'm telling you, I'm feeling it tonight.
Something's hidden tonight. You're coming out.
My brother got me wound up with his stupid Niner takes. Anybody that didn't like this show, I'm not going to call you an idiot. Anybody that didn't like this show, I don't understand it. If you are, I don't know, if you got a pulse and you're a sports fan, this is brilliant television. I don't care what team you root for. I've seen every minute of every single Hard Knocks episode. Not because I'm a Ravens fan or a Bengals fan or a Browns fan or Texans or whoever else has been on there. It's just good television. If you're an NFL fan, if you're a sports fan, to gain that kind of access and insight into an NFL team, it's great. And I know this is my fandom talking a little bit here, but this has been the best season after just one episode of all of them. It was entertaining. It was funny. The dynamic from the serious moments to the funny moments and everything in between was great. I mean, you had almost a couple cringeworthy moments. Like, this was good television. So, and Mikey, you know better than anybody, this is what you do for a living. I mean, this was just a well-crafted, produced television show. Don't you? I don't understand anybody that says it was boring. Then I don't know what you think is fun. Like,
they wanted to see Gruden yell cuss words constantly. So whoever had the final cut, I don't care. The point is, the Raiders want to present something, and they didn't show Vegas, but they showed a lot of legacy, and they talked about the old Raiders, and people had issues with that. They're like, we don't care. The Raiders still live off the old legacy, and that's all they live off of. But again, I don't care. That's what I live off of. So I freaking loved it, and I loved how they ended it with family. Instead of drama, they ended it with family, and I freaking loved it.
Amen. Me too. I thought that was a brilliant way to do it. And because, look, anybody that says they spent too much time on the legacy of the Raiders, I question how much of a fan of the Raiders you are then, man, because that's the whole point of the Raiders. It is the legacy. It is the tradition. It is the uniforms that never change.
Vic Tafur called John Madden filler. Vic Tafur called John Madden's segment as filler. They had nothing else, so they made it as filler. Are you kidding me?
It's unbelievable. And I've had Vic on my show a few times. It's been a while since we had him. And ever since he left and went to The Athletic, I don't want to say I've lost respect for him, but I've lost confidence in his reporting. It's becoming agenda-driven, much like a Tim Kawakami, or you see others. I mentioned some of the big-time national guys earlier. It's becoming agenda-driven. He's taking pot shots at the Raiders. And a lot of these local guys who once upon a time were great friends to the team and to the fans are now bitter because the Raiders are leaving and they're taking their shots at the team. And that's a prime example of that. That's a completely unfair shot. If you have an awareness of the Raiders, you have an awareness of the past. If you don't think that scene of the alumni dinner with Phil Villapiano, the famous Italian linebacker for the Raiders, sitting at the head of the table, like you would have
I didn't notice that. You're right.
If you don't think that's that's very intentional, like if you think, look at how well crafted those shots were and who they chose to speak and when. It was just, again, it was great television. And if you don't like the past, then I don't know. Then go root for another team. I mean, seriously, like that's what we do. I do an entire show called Tales from the Nation about significant historical moments about the team. We've had Phil Villapiano on our show. We're going to have Fred Biletnikoff on our show. We respect and honor the past because you know what, Raider Nation? It was glorious. And I'm sorry if you weren't alive back then to see it, then go watch it. Go watch a YouTube video. Go watch what the AFL Raiders were like when we beat the crap out of the Houston Oilers in the AFL Championship. Go watch that stuff. Go learn about that stuff. That's your legacy, man. Like, embrace that. It's great stuff. And that's what the Raiders are all about. And also, there's the last thing I'll say. Boy, I am fired up tonight. We're not going to do this every episode. If you've ever watched Hard Knocks before, you know this thing progresses from the established seasoned veterans into the rookie battles. That's the way the storylines work. Eventually, it's going to be about Jason Kabinda or Quentin Bell or whoever else. Kauser. Those are the guys they're going to start focusing on. We'll probably get an entire segment about the fact that Kauser speaks Chinese.
Yep,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we'll get stuff like that. That's what the show is. But this had to establish the Raiders. And how do you establish the Raiders? Legacy, tradition, pride and poise, commitment to excellence, the autumn freaking win, man. If that alone didn't get you fired up, then again, you're rooting for the wrong team.
They're trying to honor Oakland, the legacy of the Raiders, as much as they can, at least within that first episode, and I had no issues with it. Favorite and worst moment?
Worst moment might have been Abram talking back to Gruden a little bit. I think that there was a little bit of fabrication. I think there was a little bit of acting going on. Not every reality show is reality.
I'm always acting.
You know what I mean? And so I think they were playing a little bit, but it was still kind of like,
it's cringy. It's very cringy.
Got a little cringy for a minute. It got a little cringy when he was giving Derek crap about his money at dinner.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Give me your favorite moment now.
All right. So my favorite moment, it's got to be the beginning. I mean, even though I heard Gruden's nightmare speech before, hearing it without any bleeps, hearing it with the curse words and all, and I think that's what it's got to be. I mean, that's going to be an all-time Raider quote. I'll give you a 1B. Was when right before he cut Ronald Ollie, and he's just walking with one of the player personnel guys, and he goes, you know what? Let's get rid of some of these effing guys that don't want to be here. Just like very matter of fact, very abruptly, and then next thing you know, Ronald Ollie was getting cut, and you know Chris Warren was too. They didn't show that. But so that was my favorite part. I'd say those two moments, and just because they're kind of the same moment, it's kind of the same, that impact, that realness. You want to see John Gruden real and unfiltered? Well, there you go. There it was.
Yep. My favorite moment is when John Madden came on screen coaching, talking about the 7-man sled. Then they cut back to Gruden coaching players hitting the sled back and forth, back and forth. It was like the contrast between Gruden and Madden and how they're basically the same and just on a different spectrum many years later. They kept going back from Gruden to Madden, and I loved it. That was the most favorite moment I ever saw, and I loved it. And now my worst moment, it's just everything Jonathan Abram. So that's why I brought up this question now. Everything Jonathan Abram irked me, bothered me. I felt he was too brash. I love his attitude on the field. But when it goes off of the field, I don't know if he wants to create a character or become a star for the cameras, or if he's truly that brash. And that, I call it disrespectful at times. I don't know how to deal with characters of that issue. They scare me, but that's me. That's not anybody else, but that's me. But when he was sitting and talking about Derek Carr, his money, his family, then he walked up to Gruden and kind of gave it back to him. I didn't understand where he thought any of them were respected or they were authoritative over him, or he didn't want to let the power go. It just really bothered me. I don't know if it was fake or not, but I want that on the field. I just don't want it against your coaches or your leader of the team. I don't know. So Jonathan Abram, should he ever be mic'd up again? Yeah, he's fun to watch, and I'll love every minute of it. So even if it's cringy, I want to watch it. But what say you on Jonathan Abram?
Yeah, I agree. It was so in the my initial response was I thought, well, that was a little off-putting. That was a little, bad manners. If anything, talking about another man's money at a dinner table when he's buying, you know what I mean? Like he's buying your meal, and it's like, okay, that's not really, it's not something that I would have done.
He brought up his kids too. He put his kids in that conversation. If I was your kids, I would take the money. Like, what the heck?
And then challenging the coach. That was another one. But here's where, after thinking about it, processing a little bit, he's a young man. Okay, he's got some immaturity to him. We all were when we were that age. So he's got some immaturity. He's a first-round pick. So, yeah, he's brash. He's carrying a lot of confidence. But I don't think he had ill intent. And I think that's where, whether you're a comedian that gets away with an off-color joke, or, you work blue with some salty language and stuff, you get away with that stuff depending on your intent. Is your intent to hurt? Is your intent to belittle or to demean or to, establish a prejudice or, a prejudgment against someone? If that's your intent, then it is awful. It's despicable behavior. I don't think Jonathan Abram has a malicious bone in his body. I think he's silly. I think he's brash. I think he's a little crazy, because you have to be to run full speed at someone that's running full speed at you and want to take their freaking, take their block off. You got to be a little nuts. So he's a little nuts. And you know what? The Raiders should be a little nuts. Here we go, legacy again. That's what we were built on. We won Super Bowls because we had a bunch of players that were a little nuts. Ted Hendricks, Matt Millen, Jack Tatum, Atkinson. You know what I mean? The list goes on and on and on and on. John Matuzak. They were all a little nuts. So Jonathan Abram is a little nuts. I like him. So, yeah, rein it in a little bit maybe, but that'll probably come with age and with some coaching. But I don't think he's done any of this.
He hasn't earned anything in the league yet, though. So I don't know why he's demanding respect from coaches and players like Derek Carr. He's very sarcastic to me.
I don't think he's demanding anything. That's the difference.
Did you see the interview where he talked on, what was it, NFL Network, against Steve Smith, the wide receiver that trash talks a lot too? Yeah. He said he was going to lacerate his spleen, and Steve Smith called him a gazelle and said he just needs to listen more. And it's just, I don't know. It's just a little too much for me. I don't know.
Steve Smith has gotten into it with just about everybody that works at the NFL Network, so that's not anything new.
But it's a continuation of Abram either playing that character or wanting to prove the power to everybody. Or, he's a star now. He's a star.
If he's got a chip on his shoulder and that's what it takes to motivate him to go out there and to wipe out Tyreek Hill,
go for it.
Have at it.
And that brings us to this one. We don't have to speak on it.
We call that a segue in the biz, Mikey.
Yeah, the boom, 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 segue. We don't have to talk about it much, but what's your thoughts on punishment or Tyreek Hill? Do you think he deserved any, or I just want to know your thoughts.
Well, since I'm all fired up tonight, I might as well just go for it. I think he's a despicable human being. And I think it's a sham that the NFL suspends Richie Incognito for saying something when he's not even on an NFL roster. And then this guy says hateful, awful. You want to talk about intent? Here you go. Says hateful, awful, malicious things to his his girlfriend, the mother of his child, and then potentially had caused physical damage to his own son. I mean, it's just, you can't get scummier than that. So F him. I don't curse on this show, but F this guy. And it's an embarrassment that he's in the league. And I don't ever wish injuries on players, but if Jonathan Abram wants to freaking gut this guy over the middle of the field, okay.
There it is. I really, really hate that no punishment came, whether it be a fine, whether it be anything, even from the Chiefs. He should have publicly stated, you know what, the Chiefs should suspend me for a game or two at least. Like, just if you want to take, whether proof, this or that, just do it. Just speak up, be a man. It really is annoying.
He's not because real men don't hit their kids like that. I'm not talking about like giving a kid a spanking or something, but I'm talking about physical abuse to do damage to your child. Talk about hitting the kid in the chest and saying, we always teach him how to box. Yeah, because 3-year-olds box. Like, give me a break. So, physical damage to a child or to a female, and just the verbal abuse, dude. Like, forget it. Like, this guy's just seriously, like, he's a scumbag. Like,
he still should be punished. I mean, I can't get into all that. He did this or did that. I don't care. Players have been punished for multiple less things than what was basically presented to us. And the league, it's ridiculous. And it shows that they're favoring the damn Kansas City Chiefs, and they want him on the field. It's just really, really bad, to say the least. Quick thoughts on Jalen Richard about vaccinating, how he said he won't vaccinate his kids. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Man, everybody parents their kids different, man. You go do your thing, but just don't endanger my family because you choose not to, embrace certain technologies that prevent freaking terminal illness.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on different sides of the spectrum. But whether I agree or I don't, I truly respect Jalen Richard for speaking his mind, because in today's day and age, so many people that's against the norm, they want to condemn you so quickly. And again, whether he made this decision or not, I'm just actually proud a young player is speaking up and he's not afraid of the after effects that are going to come to him. So that's why I applaud Jalen Richard for speaking his truth, because not many people do that nowadays.
Unless you're on this show.
Yeah, there you go. Cliff Branch passed away.
Oh, man.
Any stories or any memories of Cliff Branch?
Yeah, I played an audio clip on our last Raiders fan radio of Cliff in the Super Bowl 15 in New Orleans against the Eagles. And, the reason I chose the clip that I did, and I don't have it handy to play, but just to give you a description of it, Plunkett throws a pass deep downfield. Cliff Branch catches it at like the 1 yard line and then like kind of walks into the end zone. And what made it so special was that, the ball was in the air. He made just like a little wiggle, like a sidestep, and kind of juked the defender, and the defender went by him, and he just really casually caught the ball and kind of walked into the end zone. And, the Raiders, here we go, talk about the legacy of the team. It was very gritty. It was toughness. It was, defensively, it was, take people's heads off. It was quick strike offense, deep downfield. It was high pressure, right? It was very aggressive. Cliff was smooth, man, and especially in this game. And just that simple little adjustment, just that simple little wiggle, that talent that he had, it was just, it was amazing. And when you look at his peers that are in the Hall of Fame, his numbers not only stack up, but in many cases are better than. It's an absolute shame that he's not there. It's an absolute shame that he's going to be inducted posthumously like Stabler was. The good news is that he'll get in, and hopefully Flores gets in at the same time, and they can pay proper respects to Cliff Branch. But, yeah, rest in peace to Cliff. Condolences to his family. And this was one of the greats, man. I mean, he's on the short list of all-time greatest Raiders. So we will miss him.
Yeah, truthfully, I met him at a Raider event where he was signing autographs, and I think the autographs were like $40, but I didn't have the $40. Once he told me, he saw my face light up, and then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll buy a picture later. And then I walked away, and then a little while late, like maybe about 30, 40 minutes later, he walked right up to me, and then he goes, I'll sign anything you have. And then he signed my hat that I had on.
Wow.
So,
wow, that's cool.
What an amazing guy, because he saw me filming, and he saw a lot of the Raider super fans, like Gorilla Rilla being a part. Like, I guess he didn't know that I had a video channel, and maybe all of them told him, or he realized maybe I was something big or special or whatever, and then he just came over and he just represented. So he'll be missed. Who do you think should light the final Oakland flame? I don't know if we asked this before, but do you have an answer for the final Oakland Flame?
I think the answer's got to be Coach Madden. I mean, I don't know how his health is. I know that we haven't seen him much here lately.
Apparently, he called a lot of people after Cliff Branch passed away. So I heard some information that he made a bunch of phone calls, to console the families and friends and players. Cool. So that looks good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, I loved it that we got to see Coach Madden, at the ceremony midfield when Kenny got inducted, and and Madden was there to, and honored the surviving Stabler family, and like that was a really nice moment. So to see, I mean, who else? I mean, if not him, I mean, Coach Flores. I think one of the coaches. It's got to be one of those two guys. You know what I mean? One of those two guys has got to light the final flame. Although, Flores was so much Los Angeles. I mean, I don't know. I mean, his first Super Bowl was Oakland. Well, I mean, let's go back to his history as a player too. So I think that there's enough Oakland legacy with Coach Flores. If you don't get Madden, then it's got to be Coach Flores. And then player wise, I mean, Biletnikoff. I mean, he's probably out of the surviving Raider players, he's got to be. Super Bowl MVP, man. I mean. So I would say maybe Biletnikoff.
Yeah, a lot of them have already, lit it and autographed it. So maybe, I'm not saying anything bad. Maybe they shouldn't do it. But I don't know. I think some of the super fans or some of the fans should be picked out of the season ticket holders for 10, 15, 20 years. And I think, the Raiders really need to go back to the fans. Maybe have a bunch of the legends and the fans all together do it. I don't know. I was
just going to say that might be the move and I appreciate your sentiment about the fans. And, my show's called Raiders Fan Radio. We embrace the fans incredibly, and super fans on down. We're all about our fandom. I love the sentiment. I don't know how realistic that would be to, put Gorilla Rilla and Violator up there to light the flame. I'm sure they would do it in a second. We would love to see it. But I like your idea of the legends. Like, get Ted Hendricks, get Art Shell, get Biletnikoff, get Villapiano, you know what I mean? Get all those guys together, Lester Hayes, and have them do it all collectively. That would be a nice moment.
All right.
Al, let me say one last thing and I'll shut up. Al always, his most pride he had in any of his workings as the owner or general partner of the Raiders was his connection to his players. And that's why they all refer to him as Mr. or Coach Davis, and still to this day give him the utmost reverence. So I think since it's Al's torch, even more so than a connection to the city of Oakland, the connection to Al, yes, get those players that loved him so much.
Very well said. All right, let's do some real rapid fire. We're going to go through each position battle up to point, and who's the winner so far from your perspective and what you heard. Let's start with the punter battle. Who's winning, Johnny Townsend or A.J. Cole?
Johnny Townsend.
I agree. Johnny Townsend has the slight edge after that performance the other day. Slot wide receiver, I should put J.J. Nelson there, but he's not really a slot wide receiver. Ryan Grant or Hunter Renfrow?
Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow as well from all the reports. Now, defensive tackle, let's say the next person next to Maurice Hurst, one of the three. Justin Ellis, Jonathan Hankins, or P.J. Hall?
P.J. Hall.
I say Jonathan Hankins. So far, battle cornerback, Darryl Worley or Trayvon Mullen?
Trayvon Mullen.
I say Darryl Worley is leading. He started the game, so I believe he's leading. Mike Glennon, now we got a big one. This was a big week for both quarterbacks, kind of. Mike Glennon or Nathan Peterman?
Nathan Petervic.
I'm going to say Mike Glennon, even with those 2 interceptions. All right, now, battle left guard. Let's say for the rest of the season after week 2.
Oh, it's Incognito.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say Incognito. But you believe Jonathan Cooper will be the first 2 games while Incognito suspended?
I think he's going to have to be. I think that we're going to pick up somebody off the waiver wire, too. And you know what? Denver Kirkland played a heck of a game there the other night in the preseason, man. He looks good.
Yeah, but he played in right guard, didn't he, over Gabe Jackson's injury?
But we're going to be down 2 guards, so we're going to need 2.
Oh, gosh, I don't even want to think about it. All right, now if there's one defensive end that you could solidify besides Cleveland Farrell on the right or left side, whatever it is, which one would it be? Max Crosby, Arden Key, or Benson Mayowa?
And I've been singing this guy's praise from day one, and I think that he's starting to show it. He showed it in the game by getting his first sack. Arden Key, man, I think that he set that rush up beautifully with a bull rushed him all game long, or at least for the first part of the game, and then gave him that one dip, man, and boom, and he was on the quarterback. And you could see Arden Key's length when he got there finally show up. And I've been saying this for a long time. That guy's was a step away so many times last year. Well, with good coaching, maturity, hard work, that step gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And I think finally he's going to start making up that last little bit of ground, and we're going to see a big year at Arden Key.
Yeah, I'm still going to give it to Benson Mayowa, the veteran, because we didn't see him on the field, and they normally sit their starters on game 1. We did see Max Crosby a little bit early, and we saw Arden Key the whole game, so maybe they truly believe in him as well. But I go with Benson Mayowa. Now, battle fullback, I think the winner's clear. Alec Ingold, I think, is going to win it, even though Keith Smith is injured. What say you?
I say Keith Smith because he is a former guest of Raiders Fan Radio, and until he's not a Raider, he will be my favorite Raider.
Gotcha. All right. If any of these players make the team from undrafted free agency, who do you believe it'll be, Tavon Cooney or Koa Farmer?
Koa Farmer.
All right, I'm going to go Tavon Cooney. I hate saying that word. It sounds like an old bad word for some reason, Cooney. I don't know why. It just sounds really weird to me. All right, battle tight end, Luke Wilson or Darren Waller?
Darren Waller, man. I love Darren Waller. I think he's going to be the biggest surprise in our offense this year.
Yeah, they played Darren Waller a little bit, but Luke Wilson didn't play. That was very interesting. I say Darren Waller too now. Battle safety, if there is 2 tandem safeties, will it be LaMarcus Joyner and Jonathan Abram, or Jonathan Abram and Carl Joseph, or Carl Joseph and LaMarcus Joyner?
This is no battle. All 3 of these guys are going to probably start. I mean, when you heard, I forget who it was. I think it was Mayock. It might have been Gruden, but anyways, one of them talked about LaMarcus Joyner when he played safety, and now comes over as one of the best slot cover guys in the league. So I think they pretty much just have, there's not much to interpret there. I think he's going to. Can he play safety? Sure, but I think you're going to see him cover, that third wide receiver a lot more often.
Yeah, I believe Jamarcus Joyner is probably going to play cornerback a lot, but I believe it'll be Abram and LaMarcus Joyner for the most part. Who out of these undrafted free agents makes the roster if 1 or 2 or 3? Keelan Dosh, Lester Cotton Sr., Tavon Cooney, Ronald Ollie, we all know is gone, Koa Farmer, or Alec Ingold?
Just by the math, you got to think Lester Cotton, right? Because we need guards. So
that is absolutely true. Keelan Dosh had a nice showing and a touchdown, as we're going to talk about. So I'm going to say Keelan Dosh somehow makes the team, and Alec Ingold. And, that's it. I'm not even going to give it to Lester Cotton. Which veteran gets cut is on the roster bubble? Brandon Marshall, Eddie Vanderdosh, James Kowser. I don't know why J.J. Nelson's there. He shouldn't be there anymore. Or DeAndre Washington. Or Mike Glennon.
Just to remain consistent, I'll say Eddie Vanderdoes, because I've said for a while now, he really hadn't progressed much. And I know he's been fighting injuries. You never want to evaluate a player entirely who's been playing injured, but I got a feeling like Eddie Vanderdoes really hasn't developed like the Raiders wanted him to. So that's going to continue to be my answer. But I think Kowser, man. Kowser's looking, I like the guy. He's a fun guy to root for just because of his background, and you know what I mean. He's a pretty fun and funny guy. But I got a feeling he's going to be the one. You watch Hard Knocks lock into this guy here about week 3.
They will. They will. I agree. I think it's going to be Eddie Vanderdoes and James Cowser somehow. All right, let's get into the game review. We just had the first preseason game of the preseason. Did that sound right? We just had the first preseason
game of the preseason, yeah.
The preseason, yeah, I can't say that. But the Raiders won. I remember a couple seasons back, the Raiders couldn't even score a touchdown till the fourth quarter of the fourth preseason game. So I was really thrilled with what I saw. So I'll just give you my quick little instant reaction. I really liked the defense, and I like what the coaches planned for each individual quarterback in their first series. It seemed like they might have had the first 10 plays for each quarterback when they came in, like set in stone. They practiced them a lot because they looked good on every opening drive, every quarterback that went in. So I really liked what I saw from that. And the defense, whether they played against second, third strings, or it's only the first game of the preseason, I don't care. The young players stopped the Rams. The Rams are a good team. They are coached by good people as well. And our young defense came to play, and Paul Gunther had these players running around the field. And we stopped them, and we won the game. I enjoyed what I saw from this young team.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch. I typically don't get too wound up about preseason games because, they're just player evaluation periods. That's all these things are. They're just glorified practices is all they are. And in fact, the coaches now, with the way that they're scrimmaging, they like the scrimmage time better at the joint practices because they can protect their quarterbacks and then they can install anything that they need to install and run anything that they need to run. So that's the way I look at these things. So I try to keep it all in context, and I just look for certain players to shine and certain players to stick out. And I'm far from a tape study guy, but I just look at, do they pass the eye test? I know enough about mechanics to be dangerous and to coach youth football, but certainly not at the professional level or anything significant like that. So, when I look at like the way that the game Trayvon Mullen had, he's a big, strong guy, man. Like he looked good. Also looked good wearing number 27, Lester's old number. Like that was pretty cool seeing that. I mentioned Arden Key. I thought he looked really good. Of course, Peterman was fun to watch. I'll tell you something. I don't know what broadcast you watched, but hearing, I'm going to talk a lot about legacy tonight. Hearing Matt Millen in the booth
with Beth
with Beth and Rich Gannon after going through successful heart transplant surgery, and to hear him in the booth and in there telling stories and about the Raiders, and that was a guy that, for those of you that aren't old enough to remember, Matt Millen was one of the dogs on that defense, man. Like in that 83 defense, and I mean he was an absolute beast, and he's just. I know he gets a lot of flack for what turned into his front office career, but as a Raider, this dude was, as Raider as you can get. And so knowing that and remembering that about him, hearing him come back and announce for the team, that was really poetic. So good health to him. And that sounds like he's making a full recovery, which is insane.
Yeah. So who was your standout, your MVP, and your breakout from the game while I show stats on screen?
I think Peterman caught us all by surprise, man. Now you kind of see why, Gruden likes this guy. And, because you hear the name Nathan Peterman, you're like, ooh, like cringe. Like, you know what I mean? Like
the media made us do that because of the bad games.
Well, hey, look, I don't need the media to tell me the guy threw 5 interceptions in one half. Like, I saw that with my own eyes. So knowing that, I'm like, oh, my gosh, what are we doing? Well, now you see. So, clearly there's talent there, and so I think that was the most surprising to me. So based on that surprise, then I guess you would call that a standout. In terms of the defense, you referenced how well they played, and I thought that was really cool. But I was really surprised also by the lack of discipline of the Rams. Now I know we're talking about second string players. We're not talking about Todd Gurley and Jared Goff and those guys. But still, you would think with the Sean McVay coach team, they'd have been a little more disciplined. Dude, the flags were flying like crazy.
Special teams.
Yeah, they were dumb penalties. This isn't like you're talking about, these are like lineup penalties and you're like holding calls, and these are like very preventable type situations. So I was surprised. Those are the two things to me.
Yeah, special teams was really bad on both sides in terms of penalties, and the offensive line for the Raiders as well. I'm sure because of the injuries or whatnot, but man, the penalties, there was 23 penalties in the entire game. 12 were for the Rams and 11 were for the Raiders. So we're looking at the stats on screen. I didn't like what I saw out of the run game, except from DeAndre Washington.
He played well.
Even with the players that helped DeAndre Washington break those holes, none of the other players could do anything. Butler, Mac Brown, they looked bad. I didn't like it at all. Just my thoughts. Preseason, all right. Hey, I love it, man. It's all I got, Murf. It's all I got, Murf. I got you in preseason football right now.
I got you, brother.
There's the wide receiver stats. Did anybody stand out from you from the wide receiver group?
Well, J.J. Nelson had a heck of a catch, man. Yeah. It's hard to ignore that. That was pretty impressive. Keelan Doss's catch, going to his knees there in the end zone, that was nice. Keon Hatcher, is he going to be for the second year in a row our standout preseason favorite?
And then be cut.
Get cut. Yeah. So I don't know. So I think all those guys kind of stood out a little bit. Rico Gafford showed his speed, man. That guy is so fast. So that was pretty cool. But other than that, Pearson L had that nice return. That was that was a nice moment, especially after he muffed that one earlier. So I'd say if I had to pick one, I'd go Keon Hatcher, man. It was just two catches for 45, as we see there on the screen, man. But I thought they stood out. 22 yards a catch. That's a pretty good average.
Yeah, I liked what I saw with that many wide receivers on screen. It means they got almost everybody involved, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to spread the ball around. And then look on that screen, there's a lot of running backs with catches out of the backfield. So that proves that Gruden is going to use players like Josh Jacobs and Jalen Richard a lot, because the running backs had a lot of catches. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. Nelson, yeah, man, his speed and him going up for the ball, high pointing it, was beautiful. But Hunter Renfrow, they tried to get him started across the middle, and it didn't happen. But they're definitely going to get better. And I liked what I saw out of the tight ends. But, boy, the running backs is the truth, is that they actually pass the ball as an outlet to the running backs a lot. And then on defense, we had Nevin Lawson leading the team. You could barely read it. But he might be suspended for PEDs any day now, as he spoke about it on Twitter. He apologized. But I think the secondary played fantastic, whether it be the cornerbacks or the safeties. I think they were around the ball all the time. And then if you want to speak on the defense, and then we'll get into the special teams.
Yeah, as good as the defense looked, I think a lot of it was the Rams really, like I said, they looked very unorganized on offense, and they looked very undisciplined. And I think that certainly helped out our defense quite a bit. But again, I'm gonna go back to it just because I'm freaking rooting for him so hard. Arden Key, man, with the sack, that was a really cool moment. As far as moments in the preseason go, that's a pretty good one to see a guy
for him to get his first sack in the first game, and he only had one last year.
Exactly, that was legit, man. That was cool.
So quick question from Mike Y. He said, after record, or what will the Raiders preseason record be?
Well, I picked them to go 0-4, if you remember when we did our prediction show, because you know how I feel about the preseason. So now that we've won one, I'm going to go 1-3.
All right. I said the Raiders are going to go 4-0, or I might have said 3-1. All right, I'll stick to 3-1. All right, here's the punt returns from DeMornay Pearson L. He was very bad. I did not like seeing him back there. He had the nice kick return, but he looked confused at times from my perspective, especially on punt returns. Maybe not kickoffs. But there's the kicking battle of the punting. A.J. Cole, 4 for 172 with the longest of 49, and Johnny Townsend hit a boomer of 55 yards and another 45-yarder. He averaged 38 last year at most. So that battle is heating up. I cannot wait to see that battle moving forward. All right, quick preview of this Thursday night's game. What are you looking forward to? What do you project? Who do you want to see? What do you think's going to happen? I don't know the questions.
I'm going to ride this theme into the ground on this show. I want to see Arden Key sack Kyler Murray. How cool would that be?
That'd be pretty amazing.
Or even better yet, see Cleveland Farrell sack Kyler Murray after all the speculation about.
It'll come back little by little.
Are we there? You got me now?
I got you now.
Okay. So even more poetic than maybe Arden Key would be to see Cleveland Farrell get to Kyler Murray, considering all the speculation that went around about whether we were going to draft Kyler Murray or not, and all that kind of stuff. To see our number one draft pick or our first-round draft pick get to their first-round draft pick, that would be pretty poetic.
Yeah, I expect a big game from the safeties again, and hopefully sacking Kyler Murray out of the backfield. But our run defense tore up the Rams last week. So I want to watch them against whether it be David Johnson or any of the Cardinals running backs, and I want to see them build upon what they did last week. And it's going to be nice for the team to see let's call him a running quarterback or athletic quarterback. It's going to be fun for the team to game plan for Kyler Murray because they're going to face a player like Patrick Mahomes a lot. So you kind of want to use Kyler Murray as a Patrick Mahomes example, for that game. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think the Raiders are going to win. The Raiders are going to win 21-16. What about you, Murph? They're going to lose, apparently, according to your record.
Yeah, they're going to lose 30-3 because it's the preseason and none of it matters. It's all about player evaluation.
Woo! Murph's on fire today! Yay! All right, it's time for the bonus segment where we get into some bonus fun type talk to end today's show. Just a reminder, call the Raider Rants hotline, leave a question for me and Murph, and you will be on the show. But leave it simple, under 30 seconds, and you will hopefully be on the show. Just want to remind everybody, we do have Mondays with Mikey and Murph t-shirts for sale. We got the On Air Nation t-shirts that Murph is supporting my channel with for sale, link down below. And on Murph's channel, you got the Get Made shirts, if you will, to support our channels, because we have to shell on every channel. Then we got this cool little t-shirt. And then we got the Murph Fan Cave. We got the I gotta show the pictures. And then, all right, let's get into the fun. Stop selling people on everything. Go for it.
Well, and if you'll just humor me for 1 second, all the proceeds of those Get Made shirts all go to the Blitnikoff Foundation. We are giving away 100% of the money, and we are presenting it to them live at their annual Crab Fest fundraiser. That is in November on the 1st before the Lions home game or the home game against the Lions. And so we're giving all that money away. So please support us so we can support them in turn by donating to the foundation. 100% of the money goes, and it's a cool shirt.
Yeah, it is. And links will be down below to everything Murph after the show, and you can go to murphfancave.com. Thank you very much, Murph, for you to be able to do that, because I'm technically not at a place where I can do that right now for all of you guys, and I really, really respect it, Murph. All right, so there was a Face app for Facebook. No, thank you, brother. So there was an app where it makes people look old, right? So Raider Post made this post of me looking old. And when I saw this, I said, wait a second. I'm Murph's co-host on this channel as well, and I look exactly like your co-host on your channel. I look exactly like Mosh. Look at that. Murph, you keep choosing the same funny people to be your co-host.
Exactly. Well, I guess I know what my what am I calling it? The oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? I know what not the format, but not your characteristics. What is it, Mikey? Help me. The structure.
It's like when you find a girl, like when you find a girlfriend or something.
That's pretty funny, man. You guys do look a lot alike.
It's hilarious. You keep picking the same people. If we were on Tinder, you would swipe right. You would swipe right for both of us. I just thought that was.
Oh yeah, I would.
I thought that was a funny coincidence. So, all right, Murph, we're going to get into a contest called Name This Raider. And here's some information about this Raider. He's 6'3", 195 pounds. He was born on March 19th, 1965. Don't look it up. Don't cheat. He's from New York. He played at Penn State College.
I'm not looking.
I know. His high school was Piscatary, New Jersey. He was drafted by the LA Raiders in the 8th round, 199th overall of the 1988 NFL Draft. He had 16 receptions for 302 yards and 1 touchdown, and he only played for the Raiders for 1 year.
Yeah, you want to know how I know? You know that I'm not looking it up on my phone?
Because you're showing it to me.
Yeah, and I have no idea who this is. In fact, I do know who this is, but I don't remember. Because I remember he wore 89, and when we traded Cooper, I was looking for famous 89s because people were asking me what to do with their jersey, and I kept telling them Ronald Curry to take the Cooper off and put Curry on the back, and then I was like, but there's got to be somebody else. So I went and researched to see if there was another 89, and I remember coming across this guy, but no, I don't remember what his name is.
He has the first same name as me. There's another clue.
Mikey Raider.
No, Michael, but all right. I know.
Michael Raider.
Yeah, it's a tough one, dude. Trust me. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to show it because some dude is going to watch this show and know it. His name is Mike Alexander. He was a wide receiver for the Raiders for 1 year, and that's his official stats. So I don't know. I thought that was fun.
Pretty good stuff.
All right, there it is. Hunter Renfrow representing the Mondays with Mikey and Murf MTV T-shirt. And, now with this Area 51 hashtag that's going around, we have to ask you the question, Murph. First off, are aliens real? And would you storm Area 51?
I don't believe in aliens, so therefore I don't believe they're real. Is it feasible that in a vast universe like what we have, is there other living tissue out there? Probably. I mean, the odds are, but I don't think that like we're getting visited by them and all that kind of stuff. So, and then would I storm Area 51? No, because I don't feel like getting shot and or nuked this weekend. So, or whatever this thing is. So no, I will not be storming Area 51.
Yeah, I'm such a unique, weird person, if you will. So you asked me the question: are aliens real? Look, I don't even know if space exists right now. That's in the state of mind I'm in. You guys can make fun of me till the cows come home. That's fine. But here's an interesting report, Murph. There was an Israeli spaceship, or let's call it a shuttle, but apparently just this month, or in July, an Israeli spaceship landed on the moon and left organisms on the moon. Apparently, it's a real story.
Cool.
Look it up. So they're alien organisms, and apparently an Israeli spaceship left them on the moon. So yeah, aliens are real, and they're Israeli. Apparently, I don't know.
The Israelis are known for their space program, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I just couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, why isn't it on every television that they landed on the moon? I don't know. Would I storm Area 51 if I can get out of the house? Get my health right, man, I would love to. It would be fun, but I don't want to die or I don't want to get shot either, so I'll probably just stay at home and watch the Raiders and make a video. Thanks for dealing with that. I thought it was fun. All right, we're gonna get into.
You know how I am on all that stuff, man. I know. I try to play in the sandbox with you, but I don't know. I'm not a good sport when it comes to that stuff. I'm sorry.
Hey, it was a Raider question. They asked all the Raider players, and a lot of them were like, "Yeah, aliens are real." Like, I know a lot of illegal aliens or something. They made jokes like that, so it was a funny thing. All right, this is the segment where if you leave a question for me and Murph under 30 seconds, we will have you on the show. We will do a show every week. Let's get into the first question by a guy named That Money Man, talking about Antonio Brown.
Hey, this is That Money Raider James, man, coming from Chicago, man. Man, is Antonio Brown going to turn into Sean Smith? Like, when we picked up Sean Smith that 1 year, he was a good shutdown corner, and then he came in and just get torched. So is Antonio Brown gonna be that guy we can even count on? I just want your opinion, man. Raider Nation.
So the Money Man Raider asked, is Antonio Brown going to be like Sean Smith, where you bring him to the team and you bring him to be a shutdown player and he does nothing but heartache? What say you on that? Is Antonio Brown going to be the next Sean Smith?
Yeah, I mean, when you have a player coming to your team that's a future Hall of Famer, you have a certain level of expectation of production. I don't think Sean Smith was that, but yeah, if this doesn't work out, yeah, I think we'll be disappointed. Do I think it's going to be that way? No. Or do I trust his work ethic and his commitment and Derek Carr and the coaching and all that? I trust it's going to work just fine. I don't know if that's going to equate to us winning 10 plus football games and making the playoffs or not. But yeah, he's going to get his, and the Raiders are going to be prolific on offense. I know that. So anything short of that, yeah, it's a letdown.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll be, that bad of a Raider. It's just starting out with a little bit of turmoil. But I think it's going to, stable out as soon as the season starts and we get on the field. I think it's going to stable out and everything is going to be fine. But it is starting off a little rocky, and I don't like the way it's starting. But that being said, I'm still proud to have AB on the team, and I'm looking forward to Derek Carr and him throwing a lot of touchdowns. All right, let's get into the next question by Eric. I think his name is Lakers Raiders fan, and he asked a question about, is the media lying about Antonio Brown?
I think it's just bull crap. I think the media is just trying to shut us down. I think that we get this together. By the way, my name's Eric, the Lakers/Raiders fan. What's up, Mikey? Shout out.
So there it is. So he asked a question whether, the media is trying to divide us or basically fake news about Antonio. What say you on that situation, Murph?
Yeah, the media's always had it in for the Raiders. I mean, that's not new. So, Raider Nation, don't get fueled by this kind of stuff. Don't get fueled to where we're infighting. We're fighting with other Raider fans, and it's turning into this battle between the fans and all. It's just silly, man. And because we're just allowing these entities to do this to us, whether it's sports media or otherwise. Nowadays, the way that reporting works, everyone has an agenda, and whether it's your agenda or not determines whether you think that it's factual or accurate or reputable or whatever. But everyone's got one, and it doesn't matter if it's politics or it's anything. Everyone's got an agenda, and if you think I'm wrong, then I would encourage you to seek multiple outlets and see for yourself, and that's the way that it is. So that's why you get completely different sentiments from somebody like Mike Silver versus somebody like Jerry McDonald, because their agendas are different. So what you got to do as a fan, and I say this all the time, I think on this show, and I know on our other show as well, and at the risk of getting on a soapbox, it's this: take it all in, and then you decide. And you, the proverbial you figure it out. You decide for yourself, Raider Nation, of what you think is the truth. Because I promise you, you're going to get this side and you're going to get this side, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. The world is not black and white. It's one big gray area. And it's all about interpretation. Not everything is so specific and done for such specific reasons and done for such a specific cause. But that's the way that it's reported. Is it like, well, this equals that? Well, no, sometimes this doesn't equal that. Sometimes this is just this. And if you don't like it, well, then tough. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that the media definitely slants against the Raiders. It always has, because it hated Al Davis. The NFL hated Al Davis because he sued him and won. And then he packed up his team and left, and they all got pissed off. So here we go back to the legacy again. The legacy of the Raiders is that the media has it out for us. And if you don't know that, think on it, because it's true. So what you have to do is you have to consider the sources and make up your own damn mind. And I would advise you to do that in all facets of your life, Raider Nation.
Yeah, so I appreciate the question. Even though you didn't say technically that it's fake news or whatnot, you were asking, is the media making it up or are they dividing us? I don't think they're technically trying to divide us. They're trying to make money. They're trying to make headlines.
Exactly.
And the Raiders make news people money. That's why there's multiple Raider channels right now, guys. Not only me, who started many years ago, there's a lot of them that just popped up because they're making money off of our Raiders. And that's not a bad thing, but that's their decision to make money. So they want the headlines. But I don't consider the Antonio Brown story fake news because it's not. And there's too many reports that he's on his phone or missing meetings for it to be completely fake. The reports had to come from somewhere. Otherwise, hopefully, you would think people like Michael Silver wouldn't announce it. But they technically do on occasions where they make up their own stuff. But, yeah, I don't technically think the media
the problem is
come after us. I think they're trying to make money.
The problem is, yes, you're right, because here's what the follow-up to that is then what I said going all the way back to the beginning of the show. The follow-up is then speculation, because the reporter or whoever it may be from fan-generated media like the people you just mentioned, and face it, if you're a YouTuber, you're a fan. If you're a professional, you're on freaking TV or something. And I know you can make money on YouTube and all that, but you know who you are out there. You're just fans. And so if those guys that put that stuff out there and the official reporters, the guys that are official credential with the team and all that, the problem isn't just reporting the story. The problem is that when they say, and that means this, and because this happened, then it means this. That's them then speculating. This is why I have such a problem with Mike Silver. If you remember, Raider Nation, this was the guy that told us Derek Carr was disgruntled about his contract negotiations and was considering not signing with the team. That's what that's what his legacy is. This is the kind of crap because he said Derek Carr was unhappy, so therefore it's going to mean this. But it didn't mean any of that because he was speculating. The story was Derek Carr wants to get his contract signed sooner than later. Period. Stop. The end. That's what the story was because that's what the truth was. The truth was Derek Carr was anxious to get his new contract done because he didn't want to think about it during the course of the season. Then the speculation takes up and it says, oh, that means he's unhappy. That means that he wants to sit out. That means he wants to go play somewhere else. That's the problem with all this. And you're right. All this AB stuff, there's a lot of truth to a lot of what these folks say. But then they have to stop, but they can't help themselves because they make money when they say, and then it means this. Because guess what? Then you, the proverbial you, clicks on it. Then you respond to it. Then you vote it up or you vote it down. And every time you touch your goddamn mouse and keyboard, it makes them money. So if you want this stuff to stop, guess what? Don't look at it. Don't read it. Pass when you're scrolling through Twitter and you see that Mike Silver has a big giant thread, ignore it.
I just hate when I have an opinion on something. Everybody hates me if it's not positive. It's like, oh, you got to be positive about every single thing. Well, I'm just going to let you know I've been having issues with that mentally, and I've been thinking, like, do I have to be fake? And I don't want to be fake on YouTube. Whether it's against my Raiders or Antonio Brown at one moment or Derek Carr another moment. Like, I hate the fact that I feel like I have to be fake with an opinion. Or should I even put an opinion out there? Again, I question myself. Should I even put an opinion out there? So it's really a hard thing for me, Murph, that I've been dealing with lately because, I just don't know what to do sometimes. I don't know if you have an answer on that, but boy, I've been hurting lately with all that.
I think you got to live in the truth, man. And then what people do with that truth is up to them. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to give Raider Nation a lesson in codependency, but just because I think something and then you go on and you take that however you take it, well, that's yours to own. That's not mine. So if you want to share your opinion with Raider Nation, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what people love to hear from you. So no, keep sharing your opinion. But the difference is, and here's where the lines get blurry. You're perfectly clear with all your listeners, with all your viewers. This is my opinion. This is me as Mikey Raider. Here's what I think. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with speculating into that fashion, under those terms. The problem is when you're a credentialed writer, you're a supposedly respected reporter, Peter King or whoever else, and then you go out there and you report the news plus your opinion, and you don't differentiate between the two. That's the problem. And that's the problem with all of our media nowadays, is that the news doesn't, and it doesn't matter what side you're on. This is not a left thing or right thing or anything. All of them do it. It's just that they give you the news and their opinion and don't establish the difference between the two. You do. So I applaud you. That's Mikey. If you were one of those people, I wouldn't do a show with you. I wouldn't feature the audio version of this show on my network because I'm proud of the fact that we live in the truth. And I give my opinion all the time. I've been giving my opinion this whole thing, but that's it. I'm a fan with an opinion. It's not news. Does it hopefully maybe give you a fresh way to think about something? That's all I can hope for. Are we funny and entertaining when we're giving you what our opinions are? That's all that we can hope for. But it is not news. I'm not affiliated with the team. You know what I mean? I get an occasional player or past player on my show once in a while, but I'm not affiliated with the team. I'm a fan just like everybody else listening and watching right now.
I agree. I just hate losing people because of an opinion. And in today's world, whether it be politics or anything else, even conspiracies or whatever, whenever somebody goes online or makes a video or tells their truth, it just seems like more people hate their truth than more people that will just accept their truth. You know what I mean? Like, so you lose people that you wanted to respect, and it just hurts my soul. But hey, that being said, that's it. That's it for today's show, guys. We actually got it in an hour and a half, which we're going to try to do so every week moving forward because we got to watch Monday Night Football every Monday. Yeah. So we're going to do all that stuff. So I want to thank you guys for everybody that donated and supported today. And everybody, check out Murph's Fan Cave. Links will be below. And support him, the T-shirts, Fred Bolitnikoff, and just support Murph as a creator. And you know what? Get his subscriber base up. Because I'm tired of seeing everybody else, get their comeuppance when they don't put in half as much work or they're not really a fan. I'm really tired of that in this community. So get his subscribers up, give him some likes, share his damn videos because they all deserve it. That being said, go for it, Murph. Say goodbye to the nation.
Thank you, Mikey. I really do appreciate that sentiment. It's youtube.com/Murph's Fan Cave. Yes, please subscribe to us. And any of the support that we get. Look, if you click on our stuff and any revenue we generate, we give it all 100% to Bolitnikoff Foundation. That's not to begrudge anybody making money at it. It doesn't begrudge my friend Mikey for what he does. It's just that what we're able to do with it, thankfully. So just know that. And we would love to see our subscriber list jump up there. I think we're at like 1,600 right now, and we would love to have it be a much higher number. So thank you to all of those of you that support us in that way. And then I want to appreciate the chat. I can't see the chat when we're doing the show, but much like when we do Raiders Fan Radio, I know we have a very, very active chat room during Mondays with Mikey and Murph, and I appreciate every single one of you and your interactions, and I always go back and read the entirety of the chat. So even though I can't shout you out the chat or give you respect in the moment, just know that I always go back and check it out and appreciate many of you like Pirate 1975 and Watts Raider and those guys that I see that are regulars in there. Thank you very much to you all for supporting what we do, and yeah, much love to you, even though I can't see it during the show. But sometimes I forget to mention that, and it's really important because without you all, we don't. It's just Mikey and I talk to each other on the phone, which is fun, but you know what I mean? It's nice to have an audience.
Unless we get a swaggy Jeff to do our chat room on the side. Yeah. It's hard because we both got multiple screens, and audio files and all this other stuff trying to do this and present this silly, if you will, show to you guys. But again, we thank you very much. Tune in each and every Monday around 4 p.m. Pacific, and we will get you another doozy. Murph, I'm going to be honest with you guys today. I'm going to do a quick little recap. Boy, you were pissing me off early. You were animated. I felt like we were literally getting in our third fight.
No, man, it's all love, brother.
Your face went red.
Well, I got a passion for this football team is all. And most of my fieriness tonight was fueled by, like I said, my brother yesterday on the phone. I just kind of carried it over into the show. But no, man, this is a lot of fun. I love you, man. And please don't ever take my my emotion or high spirits about this stuff ever personally, because it's never
we've been through worse, but we definitely, with Gruden, we've never seen eye to eye officially.
No, we sure haven't.
We haven't.
We have not.
We have not. That's
no, because I'm a bootlicker. Remember, I'm the apologist as the
you're a car apologist.
Yes, and as the chat room would accuse me of being many, many times. But that's okay. I love it because you know what? My show's called Raiders Fan Radio because I'm a Raider fan. So I'm an unapologetic fan. And yes, I will defend this team because it's freaking the Raiders, man. Yeah,
I read something on Twitter. I posted a stupid political tweet, and I don't know how you got involved in it, but people are like, oh, you're being like Murf, political or something. I was like, well, it doesn't involve Murf. I was just saying.
Funny. It's funny. I love how people have already determined what my political values are based on tweets. Because I don't tweet about politics. I just follow people and like people and whatever, like certain tweets or whatever, and they just have like an automatic opinion about what, and that's what I'm talking about. And that's all fueled by the media. They feel like, oh, well, if you do this, then that means you're this. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean you're anything. We're all just humans, man. We're all just trying to love on each other. That's all.
Correct. And if I could end it, I'm gonna be political. And I don't care what anybody says. I want a president. Right. I want a president that acts presidential. That's all I'm gonna say. I
think we can all agree with that.
Whether it means I like him or I don't, I just want somebody that acts presidential like a man.
I agree. That I think we can all 100% agree with, regardless of where you come out on the aisle.
Somebody with some John Madden for president. Let's go.
I'd vote for him tomorrow.
Oh, so would I. He'll bring out the 7-man sled, and he'll get the cabinet. You know the 7-man the sled with the cabinet. He'll be like, hit that like you're making a new law, like a new gun law. Hit that like you're making a new agenda. It'd be great. I don't know. We're being silly. All right, let's get on out of here, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Mondays with Mikey and Murf. And we shall see you next time. And let's sing the song and get on out of here. Murph, are you ready for the thumbs?
I'm ready, brother. I got them locked and loaded.
Murph's got his famous thumbs. Let's do this. Everybody sing it with us. This has been Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We talked Raiders and Antonio Brown dirt. We are the newest, awesomest Raider show. We're having a good time. Let's go. This has been the #1 talk show Mondays with Mikey and Murf. We'll see you next week, Raider Nation.